Hi, welcome to the Calvary LifeCast, a podcast for our church family to go beyond Sunday. I'm Pastor Chaz.
And I'm Pastor Dan. Excited to have you guys here.
Buddy, we had a fantastic Easter together.
We did. Yeah. Full week, Holy Week.
Mm-hmm.
We wrapped up Lent, and then we had here at Golden Valley Monday, Thursday service.
Yep, that was wonderful. A very special time. Great to see so many people came out. And then, I think something to celebrate from Lent at the Minnetonka campus. We had such great participation each and every week. We had a full house of the YTH program and our team coming together, celebrating and remembering Lent with soup. And then we really enjoyed the variety of messages from all the pastors. It was great.
Yeah. Well, I loved that soup. Yeah, when I was able to make my way down there, that was definitely a highlight.
I'll tell you one that was stretched me. I know it wasn't a big fan. You're not a big fan of it because they told me Dan doesn't like this one. Was the Reuben soup? I am not.
They're giving me flack. I thought it was great.
Listen, I would never go, hey, I'm not in the mood for soup today. Oh, I know. How about corned beef hash and cabbage sauerkraut situation? It was delicious, and you know what? It was just again fun seeing the kids go after that and. It was a good time of fellowship and reflecting on what this special season's all about.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And, so we had Easter bash, all that good stuff. One thing that I haven't always been aware of, but it's actually true, is that Easter has historically been celebrated for 50 days after Easter Sunday.
That's wild.
And so, hey, we're still celebrating Easter.
Okay.
And
resurrection every day.
Yeah, and we have a new sermon series starting this coming week on resurrecting relationships.
Resurrecting relationships. You get ready. It is going to be so good. We got a little preview of it, and Pastor Zach has a very thoughtful message to really kick off this series.
Yeah. All right, well, let's jump in with our Calvary Spotlight.
Pastor Dan, Calvary Spotlight, mentorship. This is something that is like a core thing that you are excited about, you've been championing, and you've got some mentors lined up. Tell us about this mentoring program.
I do. I'm so excited about it. We're calling it Calvary Pathways. This is a new discipleship program that's available for everybody. We're really, really excited about it. So when I started here at Calvary 4.5 years ago, there really wasn't anything in terms of like discipleship programs or initiatives beyond small groups. And obviously, like our Sunday morning stuff and whatever. And so we launched classes. We started Wednesday night classes, and those were successful for a while. But I recognized relatively quickly that there was one demographic of people that were really hard to peg down to commit to a weekly class, even if it was only 5 or 6 weeks.
Sure.
I bet you can guess what demographic that was.
I'm guessing it was the young families.
Yeah. Young families. And I get it. I have young kids. You don't have young kids
Not
anymore, but you understand.
Yep.
Their schedules are so full, so busy, and they have every intention of taking next steps of faith and being invested and involved in the faith community, but it's just really hard.
Yeah.
And so this mentorship program, Calvary Pathways, is designed to fit in the flexible schedule of young families.
Okay, Dan, so you got to talk about what that looks like. Because I just tell you a personal aside, the mentors in my life, personal men in my life. And then when my wife and I were in that season, we had some incredible godly neighbors who've been walking with Jesus a long time. I mean, there wasn't an official mentoring relationship there, but there was. And it was just invaluable to us. I mean, it blessed us a lot. Yeah. So again, what does that look like a little bit?
Yeah. So Calvary Pathways, there's 3 different pathways that you can choose from if and when you sign up for this mentorship program. So these pathways are designed to meet felt needs that you have as a family, and hopefully really resonate with something where you're like, hey, yeah, we could grow in this. This would be something that would impact us. So the 3 pathways, there's a marriage pathway, and utilizing a book and a workbook called The Marriage You Want by Sheila Gregoire. Great book, brand new. Love it. Love the people who wrote it. The second pathway is a parenting pathway. There's a local organization called Connected Families, and they have lots of different curriculum that you actually have access to because we partner with them as a church. But their flagship is about discipline. You were probably perfect
Yeah.
in your kids.
My mom that was the James Dobson, like strong-willed child. My mom, it was all up to date on
Okay.
all of those sort of things. But yeah, no, nope.
Yeah. And again, as parents, we all can learn. We all can grow, right? And this discipline framework from Connected Families, it's research-based, it's Christ-centered, and it's so helpful. I'm so impressed by it. I've run it as a class before in the past, and people love it and are blessed by it. So if you struggle setting boundaries with your kids, learning, ways of discipline that actually work and still lead to connection between you and your kid, this is for you. And then the third one is a family discipleship pathway, which is about how do we do faith formation at home.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, that's something that, again, as my kids have grown up, there's been different seasons where we've been really intentional. Obviously, we started with like I know we've got it here at Calvary too, like the New Beginning Bible and reading. I always think that one's so funny because none of the biblical characters have eyelids. They're all like this. But we wore that thing out. And as we got to the Action Bible and reading that with them, and then we started kind of spending time on Sunday nights, just kind of either debriefing a message on a church we're going to or reading the Bible or having even the kids share. But there's different seasons. Suddenly kids get jobs and then they're driving and all that. So I'm really interested to hear, like, what does that look like, the family?
Yeah. Well, and even as pastors, we don't do these things perfectly with our kids. And I know that I can learn and grow and set better habits with my kids. So this is based off a book called Habits of the Household. And it's about turning normal, everyday, ordinary routines and experiences with your kids into moments of discipleship and spiritual formation. So again, it's a book and a workbook. Now, the reason why we're combining these sort of curriculum with a mentorship program is because it's really hard to go from the theoretical to the practical. I mean, anyone can read a book.
Yeah.
Anyone can take an online class, but going from, okay, we have this great idea, we want to set, do boundaries with our kids around screen time or whatever.
Yeah.
And then actually implementing it and doing that is hard.
Yeah.
And it's hard to negotiate that in a family. It's hard to, find time and energy and motivation. So the mentors are there not to facilitate the content and the curriculum. They're not experts. All of our mentors are past the parenting stage. They love Jesus. They're just phenomenal people. They're there to bring encouragement and accountability to actually implement the real life changes that you want to make as a family while you traverse your chosen pathway.
So good. That sounds awesome. And that's launching when? One more time?
It has launched. We already have families signed up for this program, connected with their mentors, going through their curriculum. Each pathway is 7 sessions long, and you schedule them with your mentor couple that you're paired with. So some people maybe want to, meet every other week, and it could be virtual or in person. Again, the goal is flexibility. I think most will probably do like once a month. And that gives you time to like actually try out some of the, things that the curriculum challenges you to do and make some of those changes. So you get paired with a mentor couple and set a schedule and work your way through the pathway.
Awesome. So again, if people want to engage, like, again, this is already going on, but maybe they want to engage or they're like, it's not the season for me a few times from now. Should they email you?
Yep. And there's a link for registration, which we'll share with you as well. And you register. You can always connect with me, ask me about it, shoot me an email, dthorson@calvary.org, and would love to get you plugged in and help you make your way towards a more Christ-centered home.
Calvary Pathways.
Calvary Pathways.
That sounds exciting. Awesome.
Yeah.
It's time for our Going Deeper section. We just celebrated Easter this past Sunday, and Pastor Zach gave us an incredible message about living hope. I really like the thing he set up between dead hope and living hope. So powerful. And it's the hope that we have because of the resurrection of Jesus. It's not connected to the temporal, the things that are in the current. It's connected to the person of Jesus. So good. As we think about resurrection, and now we're in this 50 days of
50
Easter.
days.
Brother, I know something that's near and dear to your heart. Your soapbox issue is resurrection.
It is. This is, one of my things that's impacted me a lot personally, was really eye-opening for me when I first started learning this from from others. And
hey, hang on, we just need to do a little disclaimer. Dan's about to get theologically nerdy, and I'm going to keep him not academic.
Okay. Nerd alert!
Get your thinking caps on, because this is rich. It's important. This is not like drinking pop, empty calories. This is like chewing into a steak. So Dan,
all right,
take it away. Resurrection, brother.
So ultimately, I don't think that we are taught to take the resurrection literally enough. And what I mean by that is for me, and it very well may have been for you as well, growing up in the church, I was a pastor's kid, involved in everything. My basic assumption and understanding was that Jesus rose from the dead so that I could go to heaven someday when I die.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair for you as well?
I think we're shaped by, like, the cartoons. We got the angel and the demon, and when you die, it's like poof, your body just goes up into the clouds.
Yeah, you're in the clouds, you're playing a harp.
Yeah, that's right.
You're worshiping
right.
Jesus forever. I mean, how boring. I'm sorry. I love a good worship service, but if that's all I had to do with my time forever and ever and ever, I'm not going to lie. That doesn't sound very exciting to me.
So talk to us about what resurrection is. Let's go a little deeper here.
Yeah. So resurrection in the scriptures is meant to be taken absolutely literally. It's so important to the gospel writers to emphasize that Jesus' physical body was raised from the dead.
Mm-hmm.
And the implication of that is that one day we are actually going to share in the same kind of physical embodied resurrection. So not that, our souls are going to go and have this existence in some other dimension or some other place, but that when Jesus returns, that we're actually going to have a physical resurrection. There's one of the most prominent verses or texts in scripture that focuses on the resurrection is 1 Corinthians 15. So I thought we'd read that, and this emphasizes for us, it's the second one there, 1 Corinthians 15, 21 through 23, about the Bible's emphasis on a physical resurrection. You want to read that for us?
So you see, just as death came into the world through a man, now the resurrection from the dead has begun through another man. Just as everyone dies because we all belong to Adam, everyone who belongs to Christ will be given new life. But there is an order to this resurrection. Christ was raised as the first of the harvest. Then all who belong to Christ will be raised when he comes back.
So for me, at a certain stage in my journey with Jesus, this was mind-blowing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I was taught that the ultimate goal of God's redemptive plan was for us to die so that we could go to heaven and be there forever and ever and ever.
Uh-huh.
But here we see, and it's consistent throughout the scriptures and throughout the New Testament, is that the ultimate goal of God's redemptive plan is that when Jesus comes back, that he's going to remake the heavens and the earth, that there's going to be a new earth and a restoration of creation, and that we're actually going to be resurrected into physical bodies.
Okay, so I'm going to give you some slight pushback. What does that mean when I'm thinking about Jesus hanging on the cross and he's there with the thief, and the thief says, "Today you'll be with me in paradise"? What is that? Speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, well, what happens to us after we die, I think that the New Testament isn't totally clear about. There's a reality where God's space, right, which we refer to as heaven, is thought of as like where God's will is always done. There's a perfection to it.
Yeah.
But the goal, and we see it culminating in the book of Revelation, is that heaven and earth are going to be brought together again.
Mm-hmm.
That there's going to be a synthesis between the two. That was always supposed to be the case, and that was going to be the case, or was the case, way back in the Garden of Eden. And so the Bible talks about life after death as sleep sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It talks about it as being with the Lord. The Apostle Paul says, to die is to gain. You get to be with the Lord, even though you're out of the body. But it also is clear that that's not the ultimate state.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not the end of the story.
Mm.
Whatever that resting place is, where we have life after death, where we're with the Lord, where we're sustained by him, held by him, there's still another stage after that. My favorite New Testament scholar, N.T. Wright, calls it life after death.
Okay, I want to again give some clarity and some pushback, and we might have to edit this out, Dan, because this is going to go deep. I know that the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Seventh-day Adventists talk about this idea of sleep, almost like you're in a catatonic type state,
Mhm.
and I know that they use those passages about sleep. So then what is our Lutheran position, or maybe broader, our evangelical position about when you pass away or when you die, our soul goes to be with Jesus, but we still have a resurrected body that clearly is going to be made new at some point.
Yeah. I think this would be, as a church, we always talk about the die for issues, the defend issues, and the discuss issues. I think this would be a discuss issue
Sure.
for us. What is life after death, where we are with the Lord and sustained by Him in heaven? Like, how do we talk about that? How do we think about that? Yeah, I think that's a discuss issue. I think that the Bible talks about it in different ways. If you ask me my personal opinion, I think there's some level of conscious awareness of the presence of God, and that we're sustained by Him in that awaiting judgment day and resurrection.
So when we think about heaven, we have that picture of streets of gold. We have a place without hurt, without pain, no sorrow, all those things. And somehow we are present with the Lord in that, but yet we've got this resurrected body that is also talked about too, where there's no arthritis and no broken hip, and we're made new. And I think as you think about the end of Revelation, where it talks, behold, I'm about to do something new.
Yep.
I think we think about, we're thinking about me being new, but he's saying, no, I'm going to do something new in the earth. I'm going to do something new in you. I'm going to do something new in your existing body, the body that you know. And so,
and how it talks about that in Revelation is that God's city comes down to earth.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not about us escaping and going somewhere else. Romans chapter 8 is another great example of this. It says that all of creation is groaning, waiting for its deliverance, for its redemption from the shackles of decay and bondage and death. God loves His creation. This is ultimately, I think, the greatest practical implication of why it's so important to focus on a literal physical resurrection, is because it values God's creation in its proper place. God loves His world.
Yeah. And that would speak to some again, I won't throw any denominations or other faiths under the bus on this, but I lived in a place where Christianity was maybe a secondary faith in the past. And culturally, this particular faith did not place a high value on stewardship of the earth, because they're like, oh, well, this is temporary. We're out of here. So it doesn't matter, because there's going to be something new that's coming. And this would be an example of saying, well, we have to steward this, because we're not escaping this. God's going to make this new.
Yeah. And it's temporary in the sense that it's broken and decaying. Yeah. And like, it's not the way that it's supposed to be, but we value it because God values it.
So Dan, let's bring it back to the real practical. You said this is why this is so important. Let's aside from pastors being theologically nerdy or having a nice theological discussion around coffee, the day to day, bring it down to bare bones, brass tacks. Like, why is this important for our congregation?
Well, this is a little cheeky probably, but one reason is because I think it's true.
Okay.
And I think that that's genuinely what the Bible teaches us. And as a church, we want to contend with the truth of the scriptures as well as we can. Another reason, and this is true for me, and I kind of mentioned it earlier, was for me conceiving of heaven like this just spiritual existence where, you just kind of escape physical existence and all you care about is worshiping Jesus all the time, like a big worship service. I don't know. I don't have a lot of hope and excitement about that, and it felt like I had to, kind of reject a whole lot of things that I feel like God gave me to love and enjoy about life. That all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I shouldn't love those things, or I shouldn't enjoy life as it is and as I know it, because one day all my existence is going to be is spiritual things. The perfection is going to be non-physical. Seeing that God's goal is for me to have a resurrected physical body and a resurrected physical earth gives me permission to love creation and to enjoy an embodied existence now without like feeling guilty about it. Like, oh, I should just love to worship all the time or pray all the time.
Sure.
And it's like, no, I can give glory to God while I'm out playing golf, and I can, where I'm interacting with people, where I'm engaging this physical world with my five senses,
Hmm.
and I can do that wholeheartedly, knowing that that's how God created me to be. That's how He's going to resurrect me to be, even more so in all of its fullness. And where there will be no more death, no more decay, no more pain, no more struggle. But I think we don't need to live with this like false dichotomy of like, I need to value the spiritual things and not physical existence.
Yeah. Well, that is a little preview as we get into talking further about resurrected relationships coming up this Sunday at Calvary Church in Gold Valley in Minnetonka. We hope that you will join us.
Yeah. And as always, remember, Calvary, to be present to God and connected with people. We'll see you on Sunday.